Okay, so this is session 1 of the Fragments of Eternity, and it's the 1st of October 2018 for those who care. I'm Ryan, the GM, and here are the players.
Hi, I'm Olka. I play the Lashunta pilot
Called
Emmelyn Dali.
Perfect, thank you.
I'm Nico. I'm playing Zora Daora, the Captain Veskian Captain.
The Captain, Veskian Captain.
Captain Veskian Captain, double Captain squared.
Excellent.
Captains within captains.
Anyway,
Captain of captains, war hero.
excellent.
I am Alex. I am playing Nix5, the android engineer, attempting to keep the ship together.
Good evening. I am Colin, and I will be playing Lyko Quint, who is a sort of spooky space bounty hunter whose accent will almost certainly change between this session and next.
I hope so, personally. Just in general. Not like I realised that was more insulting than I
Every
intended
week.
to.
I would just do that. That would be a shtick.
Yeah. It's like, oh, I fit in. Where? Yeah. Yeah, good. We are down our space rat. Hopefully, Callum will be joining us soon. But just for the record, Callum is precious, and we wish him a swift return to us. A couple of things we'll run over, just some general things for the game. You guys have crossed paths in your past, of course. The year is obviously 317 AG, I believe. You have been working together for about 2+ years on and off in general. Means we can do lovely flashbacks to all those moments that we need to justify later. And I believe that Colin, your character, Lyko, and Alex Gadrin X5 have at least crossed paths in quite dramatic ways for Lyko in the past, and also Emmelyn and Zora. Your characters have crossed paths in the past. Zora owns the ship, for whatever that means these days. Use, in general, I've kind of got the phrase the asset recovery team in my head, which basically means you pretty much hire yourselves out to do things, especially given the way you designed your spaceship, you know. I imagine you have probably been doing some morally questionable to good jobs in general. At the moment, you will be working for, and let me just find their name again because I've literally just lost their name. Give me 2 seconds, I'll go grab their name. But you've got a job from a fairly big company at the moment that operate completely legally within the Pact Worlds. So you'll be glad of that, obviously. Let me find their name. Where is their name? Please stand by. Or talk amongst yourselves, whatever's, you know.
Interestingly, I was actually going to have his job euphemised as humanoid. Humanoid asset apprehension or something like that?
Okay, yeah. Well, like asset recovery team, because I like the term of you guys being called artists.
Well, the recovery is more euphemistic than apprehension, I suppose, isn't it? As well.
Plus it could cover objects and people, right? So I figured it would be a nice way of mixing you guys, because it means that you have got the aggressive skill set that you might need.
I think I'll call him a humanoid acquisition specialist. That's what you would refer to himself as.
Although I guess in this system that is quite limiting if you're just going to say humanoid. Because I mean there are.
That's what he
multiple types.
specialises in.
Yeah.
Easier to talk to.
The Aspis Consortium is who you are currently working for. You have a point of contact who you will generally work for, which is Mr. Edgar Wesland, and that's who gave you the job right now. It sounds so watchery, I know, Colin.
That was part of it, but the other thing I was thinking is it sounds like a Resi villain.
Yeah, I suppose Wesker, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yep.
That's a rounding me off.
And other horror franchises do exist also. Although I'm quite eager for the new one. Right,
You
so
may
yeah.
watch Charmed if you wish.
So Mr. Edgar Westland is your contact within the Aspis consortium. Yous are transporting, and I use that term loosely, a shipping crate from Absalom Station out to the diaspora, or however we will say that, many variants of it. There is a research station in the diaspora that is less than well known, shall we say, and you have been tasked by delivering this, and it was very bluntly implied that if you are caught, you don't know a Edgar, an Edgar Westland or the Aspis consortium don't know anything about you at all, quite frankly. So you are pretty much being paid to smuggle to get this crate. The crate itself is about 6 foot by 6 foot cubed. So yeah, good luck. That will be probably most beneficial in your smuggler's compartment, quite frankly. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I need to cover. There's also the, as I discussed, in the party hub for you guys, there is the session notes file. That obviously feel free to have that open. And yep, good. I see that people are in here already.
It is I.
Yep, it is
The
indeed.
people.
It is I, the people. Good. Beyond that, yeah. Yous have been travelling to the coordinates that yous have been given. Yous are on your ship. Did you settle on a ship name, or are we sticking with the 11th hour until yous have decided? I liked everyone.
That's a good name.
Yeah,
That's a good.
I liked it, but obviously I picked it. I don't necessarily need to be the guy that names the ship, so it's up to you guys what you want. But we can leave it as the 11th hour until.
It's a discussion that could last hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's face it.
But
I don't think I'm going to convince anybody on shipping my ship face. After all.
Certainly makes
you
sense.
might have to go undercover at some point, and you know that is the perfect undercover name. Yeah, cool. The station that you are on your way to is the Baskerville Research Station. Oh yeah, not ominous at all. And that's pretty much as you were told, plus the coordinates, of course. In terms of like travel time, ship distances and stuff, like we'll deal with all that when that becomes more relevant. I feel like that can just have been you have been traveling for as long as you have been traveling to get there.
Yeah. Which planet is it on again? Sorry.
So it's not on a planet; it's in
right.
the diaspora, which is the asteroid belt that used to long ago be planets.
All right. Yeah.
So it's in the diaspora. The basically it's hidden in amongst of space debris, essentially, because as I said, it's not a well-known place at all. Obviously, if the authorities happened upon it, there's all of the paperwork is there, of course, for this completely legal but really unknown research station. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. In terms of just about to come out of, drift, travel, etc. What's everyone on the ship doing? Just like, I don't know, we can maybe go back as far as an hour if you want to. Like, what do you generally do when you are killing time on the ship? What's the you have to go to?
Probably just loiter in.
Yeah.
Barking at orders, because I like to bark at orders, probably. Like to feel important.
Okay.
Trying to get away with doing as little work as possible.
Okay. Yep. Cool.
I feel like I'm in the cockpit, just like with my feet up, just having a wee thing.
So yeah, just want to describe that to me as well. Is the cockpit like a a very personal affair? Is it like an open bridge, a bit like Star Trek, or is it a bit more like kind of cozy, like the Millennium Falcon? Like, how do you?
Yeah, it's more like Serenity, basically.
Okay,
I was
yeah,
about to say Serenity. I was
Yeah.
call for
Serenity. So it is.
It's
It's
2-3
yeah, like it's you can fit multiple. All the crew could be in there if they had to be, but
Yeah.
generally it's just really the pilot and
Yeah,
maybe
it's
the
my
captain.
it's my space.
Yeah,
basically.
cool. I like that. Yeah. So is it maybe got like kind of some personal effects lying around?
Yeah,
The,
definitely.
I like that. This is good. It means when we go looking for or when we'd actually try and design the layout of the ship, we can all use these to attempt
Yeah.
to keep it as accurate as possible. Excellent. Okay, what's Nick's 5 up to?
Nix 5 will probably be sitting in a cargo hold, stripping down equipment in his meditative state. Probably while listening to to an audiobook about the diaspora or something similar.
Okay, yeah.
Where he's going to.
You know, almost like the welcome to the diaspora. If you look out to your left, you'll see space.
Generally avoiding people as well.
Okay, yeah. So do you generally keep to yourself on these kind of like when you're like drift traveling?
At least when he's working on equipment.
Mhm.
It's him in the equipment space.
Okay, yeah. Kind of a bit like Olka, or should I say Emmelyn. I'll do my best to keep referring to you guys as your characters. Emmelyn and her kind of, you know, like I'm in the cockpit unless you need me to know things, get out type vibe. What I'll make as well is I'll make an FAQ document for us in the drive for this, and at least that way if like rules questions and things come up, or even just like location questions, we can cover that as well if need be. Can just keep that there if need be. Yeah, besides that, cool. Is MD like wanting to interact with anyone before we come out of drift?
I think we're all just loners.
Yeah.
Yeah, whole team of loners.
I mean, I'm
Everyone's like, I'm doing my own thing.
This is what the rat was here for the whole time. It was like it was the
Social
space
glue.
glue. Yeah. Although the phrase space glue is weirdly dissonant and I don't like it.
I imagine Nix would probably be set a timer so he could be in the cockpit or somewhere relevant when they're supposed to get out of drift.
Okay, that makes sense.
So,
Did everyone buy a comm?
Yes.
yes.
Yeah.
No.
Do you have money?
Yes.
You want a comm, and you have less money.
Okay,
I
I will fix that.
they're
afterwards.
like 7, I think, or something ridiculously cheap.
They're all just really cheap.
But yeah,
7 sounds right.
I think so. Like I was like, is it 3? I'm like, no, it's probably 7.
Yeah, I really do need a comment.
Yeah. Although I mean, I really like the idea of going. Nope, I am such a loner. I don't even have a comm. I
I
comm
think
the
he's
others.
definitely at some point going to do that. Oh, you're breaking up and throw it into like the sky, throw it into space.
Throw it into the sun, which may or may not
Yeah.
be one of 2 crew members at the time. We're not sure yet. Okay, yeah. So yeah, has anyone been keeping tabs on the cargo, or have you just left it in the smuggler's hold?
I'd keep an eye on it.
It's not my job.
I would be
Frankly.
patrolling it because that's just what I do. That's, like, between that and probably like every 30 minutes checking up on Nix, seeing like how the ship is. Like probably.
Okay, well
needs-
let's say that we're at one of those just now, right? Let's go to that. So you're obviously Nix is in, like, I guess depends how you want the layout to be, but I would assume that the cargo bay has some kind of a like hangar door-esque vibe or ramp door that you can get in and out of, as well as, you know, just so as it makes it easier to load things on and off the actual thing. So let's say it's got like a ramp, and then you've got, maybe is the smuggler compartment further in, or is it like underneath? Is it above? Like you tell me.
It's probably got to be further out. Don't want to keep your smuggler's compartment in your cargo bay. That'd just be stupid.
hmm
That's what they're going to search first.
So do you just want the cargo space to be below the cockpit, behind the cockpit? Do you want the cockpit at the back of your ship? Like, what are we thinking?
Shouldn't it be a frontal cockpit? Fronty? Sidey? Sidey fronty?
Sidey fronty. Frontal
Fronty.
sounds,
Fronty
yeah.
makes sense.
Okay, yeah, good.
So kind of mid-rear of the ship, I suppose, is the cargo bay.
Yep, so I'd say, yeah, like mid-rear, like near the bottom probably. Everybody hear me okay? My voice things went red for me.
Yeah, it went a little
Yeah,
crackly for a
That's
second there.
So yep, near the back of the ship, that's fine. Ramp going out, and then maybe further in, you've got the smuggler's compartment, and then I'd say maybe above that is like where the crew and stuff are, above the cargo bay and above the so almost like a kind of at least a 2-tier ship. I think we'll go for, because you've got a pretty decent ship. You've got the transport one, right? So it's pretty big, or it can be if need be. But yeah, we'll obviously work on potential exact dimensions if we ever do design this as a map, because let's face it, actually having on-board ship scenarios could be quite fun if we have the layout designed. Be quite good. And then have a nightmare when you buy a different expansion bay. So yeah, that'll be it's like whatever you're buying, it has to fit in this exact space that we have. So yeah, good. Right, so if that's the case, Zora, do you like knock when going into the cargo bay? Do you just
I'll
walk
probably
in?
cobble.
Okay, yeah.
Cobble, yeah. That's his personal space, you know. I'll probably understand that after 2 years. I would think, anyway. I would think.
Well, just it lets me know that you're like respectful
Probably
that
like
way
the
of someone's
best.
space though as well, which is good. So
I probably like the best star. Is it Lyko? Is that ever?
yeah, Lyko would be Colin's character, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I would probably like to pester him quite a lot because he likes to just avoid work, and that'd be fun.
Because the Vesk are work ethic, right? So
It's like, so you slacking for
right, so who are you calming just now? Are you gonna go calm?
Nix.
And where are you just now? Are you in the cockpit? Are you just wandering up and down the ship? Like
I'll
what's?
probably walk to the cargo bay, check the smuggler's compartment, like check cargo because I'm just meticulous that way.
Okay, yeah.
Probably.
Right, so you can check the cargo bay. The smuggler compartment's there. The crate is there, obviously. It's not really done much. It's kind of as
It's
is.
back there.
Yeah.
Cratey up.
Yeah, like it's quite a high tech crate because we're in the sci-fi future of a fantasy world, so of course it's fancy. But like, it's nothing that really raises any concerns. He says anonymously. Spemped, I believe is the term.
Spent.
Yep. But yeah, so if you're not going to do anything like that, you're going to calm through to.
I'll probably after that. I'll probably work out at the same time. I'll probably call up next 5.
Okay.
I don't know. I guess it'd probably just be like.
What's your calm ringtone?
anything.
Next.
Right, because it goes through the same computer I'll be listening to things on, so it would interrupt the audiobook.
Yeah, it's probably quite jarring, isn't it?
It is. It's frustrating. They insist on doing it.
I love the idea that the diaspora has maybe got to the part where, and this is when the Veth started inhabiting this area of the diaspora, and they keep a foothold here for it. And you've then just got Zora's voice, kind of screaming or barking through it.
Yeah.
So what is it you say first, Zora?
They try to figure how it.
Yeah, how would your lizard brain phrase this? The joys of RP.
Yeah, how does lizards work? I mean, it would just be like status report, but that's boring.
How do lizard?
I'd probably just be like, how's the ship going?
How does,
Systems are fine.
I was going to say, how does Nick react? Do you react like with obviously your meditation interrupted quite like abruptly there? Do you react in the way that's really visible for like the viewer, if you will, or is it just your stoic kind of oh, this is what I'm doing there?
I would say there's a frustrated pause. So nothing too visual, but there is he was in the zone.
Okay.
And he's just paused while he's working.
Like maybe
on
you were
his
about to
equipment.
click 2 of components of your gun together, and you just stop as they clack off each other slightly,
Yep.
and then obviously you reply.
Place the equipment down and go. Systems are functioning. Oxygen's flowing. Nothing's on fire. Anything else you want?
Harsh cut to
No.
the space rat on fire. Cuts back.
Probably sneeze at that point. Like, just Yeah, good.
Good.
Keep up.
Like, is the interactions always kind of weirdly jarring? Like, does Zora
I-
not necessarily know how to deal with Nyx 5, or is it just that Nyx 5 doesn't give you much to work with in terms of like?
Probably both. I don't.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. If I want to be extremely racist to the robot, that's really what I was thinking about.
You could always start at mild racism, right? And see where.
I've got a feeling that Lizard Man probably doesn't he?
Mm-hmm.
See a lot of merit in androids, but
Okay.
at the same time, that would be cruel, wouldn't it? So I was
Yeah, I mean, slightly.
maybe it's something I'm working on. Maybe it's something that Vesk actually do feel, but I'm kind of working on it. You know, like.
Early installment weirdness.
There's probably a certain mutual feeling on it. Although, because the Vesk are quite an aggressive, enslaving bunch. Although I think Nyx would also recognise that Zora is one of the better ones.
Yeah.
That's why they're working together.
Indeed.
But there's still a certain reservation.
I feel like I'm person there'll be a lot of like be about to say something and then pause and then probably like say something else because I'm like, no, I can't. I probably shouldn't say that. This is actually truly what happened.
I think as well, what's maybe worthwhile is if we go back through the characters, maybe just do a quick description for the recording for everybody, like of what your character looks like visually, because I realised we didn't do that, and we probably should have. But yeah, do you want to start us off there, Emmelyn?
Yes, why not? So, Emmelyn is quite tall and slim, as the Lashonda tend to be, and she has got purple hair, and she has got sunglasses because she can.
Of course.
Because she's cool. She thinks she's cool, and she is cool.
She is pretty cool.
And there's a lot of leather.
Okay,
as
yeah.
well.
She's cool enough for
Yeah.
leather, that's fine.
She can pull it off. She's basically like Maverick from Top Gun,
Excellent.
but better.
Zora?
Zora's 8-foot semi-albino lizard Vesk, which is kind of male, which is kind of strange for males usually because they're usually the smaller colours and usually coloured green. Usually
Just like the phrase smaller colours. I really
Smaller
enjoyed
colours.
it, yeah.
smaller
They're the
Colours.
smaller colours. Like red. Red's a small colour. Purple's a medium. A medium. Sorry.
Usually probably wearing my armour because I'm a military man.
Mm-hmm. It's probably just routine for you though, isn't it, to have the outfit, the uniform, if you will. You know,
Yeah, for sure.
the pragmatism of it all.
Yeah, that's about it, description wise.
Yeah.
Vesk, 8-foot,
Okay.
albino, palish blue.
What about next 5?
So Nyx 5 is about 7 feet tall, fairly slender built, but obviously strong as he's still an android. I've kind of got in my head that they are a little bit tougher, even if that's not always reflecting the stats. Kind of jet black skin, typically dressed in, I think it's the environmental clothing.
Mhm.
So it's designed for dust storms and the like.
Almost like a kind
he's-
of Outlander or Raider type outfit.
Yeah, I kind of got the idea that if he had the personality for it, he'd probably cut quite an intimidating
Mm-hmm.
effect. But he's a little bit too matter of fact
Yeah.
to actually carry through on that.
Cool.
Although it certainly probably puts some of the more, I want to say the more organic, although he's still organic.
Yeah.
Probably put some people ill at ease with his presence.
Yeah, it's a bit like, somebody that's got like, the generic kind of, oh, there's a gang of bikers coming this way, ... generic kind of stereotypes in space. Oh, there's
Yeah.
somebody that looks a bit rough, but really it's just somebody that really likes to tinker with their stuff meticulously.
Yeah, and then you talk to him, he's actually some religious nerd.
Mm-hmm. I like
Yeah.
that. And Lyko?
Lyko, by comparison to these giants. It is a fairly modest figure. He stands just shy of 6 foot, so like an inch or something taller than me. For those who have met me, which is like 2 of you, and no one listening, almost certainly. Oh well. He is essentially human-looking, but if you got close enough, you'd quickly realise he's just kind of off-looking. He's a bit too pale.
Several hangovers short of a party, you know.
Yeah, he always looks like he's been in a month-long bender, but he never has. You wouldn't necessarily immediately know, but he is a sort of form of really half-assed undead. But if you were sort of aware of that kind of thing, you'd be able to maybe like spot the telltale features. But certainly he doesn't look like a normal, healthy human. If you get more than sort of a passing glance, his dress sense is. He doesn't really have a dress sense. He sort of wears whatever he feels is appropriate to the circumstance. So on the ship, he's probably wearing like grimy white t-shirt because ships can be dirty, and probably a pair of space jeans or whatever.
Yeah. Spenum, I think it's called.
Spenum, yes. Spectrum. Like, if he were to go somewhere that would require, a bit of trekking around and land, he would change to travel clothes. If he were to attend the function, he would stick on some formal gear. If it was a social occasion, he'd throw on something that was sort of
social,
indicated, this human is out for a good time. It's not that he is robotic in his thinking, it's just that
clothes have a function and you wear what suits.
They're means to an end.
Unlike Zora, where obviously Zora might prefer to be in a uniform of some sort generally, because for Zora that was their life, being militant. You're obviously a bit more laid back.
Lyko's more comfortable, maybe in certain things. He might be comfortable in a uniform, but he doesn't really have one at the moment. So, he sort of doesn't give a shit. He probably appears fairly slovenly, and quite often is, but he takes his work very seriously. He just doesn't necessarily take other people's work as he perceives it very seriously.
It's like, this is definitely my job, but that is definitely your job.
He's probably not much use in the ship, but when it comes to hunting someone down, he's handy.
Good works. There's nothing wrong with a spare gunner, right? That's how it works. Or like a a boarding rappel party, or a boarding party repeller. Shrug. Also, if Callum had been here playing Zig, you wouldn't have been the shortest. So, unless it was an 8-foot rat he decides to be.
That would be terrifying.
Absolutely. Just, I was going to say inhumane. I thought, it would be, I guess, inhumane. I guess. Shrug. So good. Right, what is the end of that conversation between Zora and X5? Is it just that was it? Was it just a very brief exchange of everything seems fine, nothing's on fire?
It was just like routine. It would just have been like Matt.
Yeah, I think Nix would just leave the conversation hanging until the other person decides to
basically disconnect the con.
Yes.
Yeah.
He is waiting for other questions.
Yeah, but not like that kind of social awkward of if it's quiet I'll speak. It's just I'll wait in case they have another question, and then I will respond if they do, and I won't if they don't.
Exactly.
I guess I would say like good, keep up good work.
Is this usually your conversations as well? Like, do you usually have this awkward? Oh, I need to call and ask. Yeah, like.
Probably if it was just how's shit doing? Good.
I would say it's probably also particularly for Nix because of the zone he was in.
Yeah, like it was you were interrupted specifically. Yeah.
If he's on the job, outside working, he'll kind of expect it to be part of the job. When he's in meditation, he's in meditation.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. That's good because it means it gives us a bit of a history of how you have interacted previously as well, and it gives us that nice shape of the crew dynamic, as it were. Generally, the things that you have done as a group as well, as I said, it kind of ranged from transporting supplies from A to B, maybe legally or otherwise, maybe just moving people around, maybe getting involved in weird turf wars. If you chose to align with people that were like, we will pay any mercenaries to want to join our side of this conflict. I'll leave that kind of open to how you want to flash back to your 2+ years of having worked together. Because I don't mind if you want to bring things up going, maybe we could have worked for this company at this point doing this thing, and if it doesn't conflict with stuff that is behind the scenes, yeah, we'll totally have that pad out your history as well as we go forward. It also gives you nice ways of introducing NPCs that you might need in the future by saying, oh well, we totally know these people from this place, you know, which would be quite good. Yeah, so does anyone have anything they would be doing otherwise we're dropping out of drift? Nope.
No.
Nope.
Cool. So the next 5, your alarm goes off. It tells you you'll be dropping out of drift, and get your shiny metal ass to the cockpit, basically.
Yeah. He walks and stands in the corner of the cockpit, kind of waiting for.
Does Emmelyn keep the door closed, or is it an auto-closing door? Like, is the ship quite shiny and fancy? Is it beat up a bit like the way Serenity's beat up, or is it kind of like newer, like how like a Mass Effect ship would be shinier? Like,
I don't know. I'm sort of picturing Serenity more than anything else, but that's obviously up to the whole group what they want.
Like some like automatic doors that sometimes just don't respond to Lyko.
yeah,
I just think thematically that's a lot of fun to have.
yeah, like I like that as well, because it might even be nothing to do with the fact that you're undead. Just
Yeah.
coincidence, like there's just an iffy door that always seems to be like, the 5th time someone uses it happens to always be you. And maybe Zora doesn't wait for the door to open fully and pushes it the rest of the way so it's never noticed,
That's why the problem arises.
Yeah, maybe that is. So really it's something that Nyx could have fixed had Zora felt the need to conversationally bring it up. Zora just opens the door anyway, and then thus the person left with the problem is generally you. There you go. And maybe the rat just doesn't use doors. Who knows?
Just is always there.
Yeah, the Batman effect of I'm in the room. Other superheroes also exist.
But there weren't any other ways in. I am Batman.
I am Ratman.
I see.
But yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah.
The
I think Emmelyn is quite happy to have somebody in with her. Like I don't think she's one of those like don't talk to me. I think she's like she quite likes company, but she doesn't talk to them with words. She talks to them through the Lashanta thingy, whatever it's called,
the
mental
the
talking.
telepathy, yeah.
Telepathy. Yes, that's
Yeah.
the word.
yeah, no, that's cool. I like that as well. Yeah. Let me go back to the telepathy, and I'll just have a quick nosy at that again. Yep.
30-foot
Just
range.
within
was it?
30 feet, yeah. And you all share common as a language, if nothing else, like Vesk as well. Given who's going to be in the what do you call it, the cockpit at the time.
Yeah.
Obviously, depending on what Zig chooses to learn language-wise, it could very well become that. Right, let's all talk about Lyko, but in Vesk, very quickly. Did you get a culture language at all?
That one of them is so the signed common would count as one of my languages based on the phrasing. It isn't just like a nice cute bonus. It seems to have to be chosen as a language.
The
There's an implication error.
no, like everybody gets, like from my reading at least. Maybe I was wrong, but like from my reading, everybody gets common, and then obviously your birth planet, etc., etc. But those are all for you common anyway.
Yeah.
But the what do you call it? The culture
A
one's
character can learn the signed or tactile version of a language she knows either as a bonus language, don't know what that means exactly, or by putting a rank in the culture skill. Not skull. That would be a different
the
thing.
culture skull. It's just on the ship in a wee alcove, and nobody talks about it. But it talks about you. The culture skill. Do you have a rank in that?
Yes.
So yeah, as far as I know, you get a language.
Yeah, I do. I mean, but it has to be like that. So that was a character who learned the signed or tactile version as a language. So it is essentially taking the signed version of common is essentially taking up the language slot. Because it has to be a language I already know, and then I take. So the wording, a character can learn the signed or tactile version of a language she knows, either as a bonus language or by putting a rank in culture.
I
So
think that
it's
just-
my culture rank.
Okay, so
We'll look that up, and if I get another
I was gonna
language,
say,
I've learned it recently.
does that mean everybody else we've has everybody else taken a bonus language on top of that for culture that isn't Colin?
I mean,
ranking culture.
I took a language through it, but not like a signed.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think I see how Colin read this, and I kind of tend to agree. based on that reading. I don't know why I missed that the first time. I just assumed you'd get an additional language, but no, it definitely does seem to be the cultures, the nuances of the language.
Mhm.
Wait, if that's the case, does that mean I don't even have common?
No, everybody gets
No,
common.
you'd be able to get common. It's just that if you wanted to also learn sign common, that would be counted as another culture by language, essentially. Like, you'd have to invest to get it.
Yeah, so I think you only get languages based on your int score, essentially.
Okay.
So for you, Zora, it would be common and Vesk you get,
Yeah,
because
what-
that's the ones you get. And obviously, I don't think you have an int score, so yeah. For everybody else, if you want to cut out a language that you might have picked up for culture, and maybe add in, feel free to take the tactile and or sign of.
But you definitely can take like a language as well. It's just that you can't take both.
All right, so
Oh, yeah.
you can also take a language.
It's not stated here, I don't think. It may be
See,
stated in
well-
the skill bit, but my understanding is it's an either or.
Let's
So
just go look up
you
just now,
can.
let's-
Here you go. It's actually in the more specific in the skill section.
Yeah, I was
of
going
the
to
culture.
say,
It does say each time you take a rank in culture, you learn to speak and read a new language.
there you go. So
Okay.
yeah, like we don't have to make any crazy changes, which means, Colin, you could take a new language.
Okay, I'll look into it.
Instead
That's
of the
weird
sign.
because the phrasing in the languages bit definitely makes me think. It would be
I think it's
either
just
or.
because it expects you to go read the other bit, so it just like kicks you over, and goes, here, read here instead now. You know?
See, the 13th age guys would just have written probably and sorted it all out.
Yeah, they would have written probably everywhere and be like, shrug, and then it would say, please see page 15, which is just the word probably.
Probably 20 in the ammo.
I'm getting one culture for someone, I don't know where though. But I've got like a up arrow one, if you know what I mean. And I know that doesn't affect me. And I'm sure it doesn't affect me, because it's just a mod.
Isn't it from your like icon status probably? I'm now saying probably, and I can't
maybe.
not hear it.
Maybe. I'm wondering how I've even got that on my sheet. I don't really think I've done.
Don't know.
Lost.
Like, feel free to like. I mean, have you done your PDF as well? Feel free to review that and see what the differences are, if any.
Oh, plus one to culture. Yeah, right. Well,
There you go.
Um,
So I said, well, feel free to have another language on top of that then.
It's going to be like a pure obscure one, in like some sort of Eskian world though, so.
Well, I was going to say like the one that would immediately jump to mind, but obviously have a think about it, is Shirin, because of the swarm.
Mm-hmm.
But that's on you. You can pick what you want, obviously. But the Shirin would be pretty good.
I'll pick it at some point. I don't think it'll come up anytime soon.
Yeah, it is unlikely. Oh wait, we're in a space game where everybody speaks different languages. Well, okay, so I'm glad we brought that up because it gave us the worry about everybody had an extra language that you shouldn't have had, but then read the actual culture rules that no, it's fine. Good. I'm glad that all worked out. But I do like the fact that it does specify that if you want to learn the sign of a language, you would need to actually spend that culture resource on it.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine.
That
That's
makes
good.
sense.
Yeah, it's good though. It's good that it specifies. But I knew that this system would be a good system to learn because probably most of the answers we look for will be here somewhere. Just because it's obviously born from Pathfinder. Anyone that doesn't know, we're using StarFinder. Probably should have mentioned that at the start of the game as well. But here we are.
Oops, we didn't mention this.
Oh dear God, it's the beginning.
This is really largely your fault, I think.
No, I believe that's what you started this. I'll take none of your medicine here, my friend. Anyway, so before we go down the oh dear God, why is it so racist? Let's get back to our game. Right, okay, so we're all in the cockpit. Emmelyn, was there something you were asking about being in the cockpit and about to come out of drift? Or was that already covered?
No, I'm good.
You were talking about people in the cockpit and you were saying how you like people to talk to but you would speak to them telepathically. So
Yes.
who's all in the cockpit right now? Obviously we know Nix and Emmelyn are.
Probably.
I'll be
Zora?
the cockpit. Fuck it.
Okay, cool. So everybody
Everybody.
except the Schrodinger's rat. Good. Right, so having...
Accept or possibly not accept.
Yeah. Maybe thus. The telepathy then, right? So any creatures within 30 feet. How does, like... Are you openly just talking to them that way even though they might be verbally talking back to you? Like...
Yes.
Okay, that's fine. So that if that's your like your natural, and this has been your go-to, that's fine. How does
much?
Yeah, I was gonna say, how does everybody
Yeah,
else
how much do you
feel?
get back in response? Is sort of the question. Like, are you
It's just normal conversations, as far as I can.
right? So you wouldn't be getting people's thoughts on one,
No.
broadcast to you or anything. Okay.
No, I'd have to do detect thoughts for that.
Right.
This is
That
just.
that would have seemed really broken for one thing. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I would let something that powerful into a game I'm running. It's like, wait, weirdly, everyone's from the cult of mind bullets. But yeah, the
It's telekinesis.
and other references exist also. The like, for example, let's go down the list. So Zora, like, how comfortable are you with a voice in your head, like in general? Because obviously you've technically known or potentially known Emmelyn the longest. So.
Probably used to it by now.
Mm-hmm.
Probably was like, first. But yeah, probably used to be on.
Because what I like though is, it's interesting because you guys wouldn't know if you are all hearing the same conversation from her, and that's the interesting bit. Because while she can contact you guys and you can talk back to her, you don't know you are getting the same message as each other, and that is the bit that I'm obviously interested in. Because would people verbally respond back?
I would, for that
Yeah.
exact reason.
I was going to say, because that's interesting. That's the bit that I want to kind of factor in for the character development bits here. Is obviously having one-way conversation is nice through telepathy, but obviously for Olka's character, Emmelyn, like, it's just conversation because she can hear all of you think back if you want. But obviously it just works like conversation for her. So if everybody thinks back at the same time, it's the same as everybody speaking at her at the same time. It's just as difficult. But yeah, so what's the, like, what about you, Zora? Do you think back or do you speak back?
Probably depends on the situation.
Okay, yeah.
Well, if it's a one-on-one, I'd probably just think back because silence is golden.
Mm-hmm. Plus, I mean, tactically, it's pretty useful, right?
Yeah.
So, like, if you did jobs originally together without anyone else, I say jobs loosely for moral reasons, but like, that would probably be super useful. The fact that you don't even have to worry about comms, right? Within 30 feet.
He's
You have
gone
become an android.
Hello.
Hey,
I am here. Hello. Can you hear me okay?
He's become one with the ship, like an object in space.
Beep boop.
part of the ship.
I'll just wait. Hello.
Hello.
Can you all
Am
hear
I
me
a
okay?
tiger? I guess I am.
This is,
Can you hear me okay?
yeah, he's-
Oh, jeez.
Hello again.
Hey.
Yeah, don't worry about this, guys.
No.
This may happen.
Yep.
It's things we've experienced in the past a few times, isn't it, Colin?
Uh-huh.
Oh god, the joys. The trick is, try and make it as obvious really quickly for me. I heard all of you fine, by the way, at that point. And what I'll do is I'll keep the recording going as long as I can for that, just to make sure we're all good on that front. Everybody want to talk very briefly for me, just as a rabble?
Hello.
Yes.
Hello.
To
Good,
speak
it's fine.
now.
Just to make sure I'm still getting the audio through. Good. Yeah. So, anyway.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that I think I think Emmelyn will talk to Zora a little bit, like give him more detail when
Okay,
she talks to him in the head.
Okay. Yeah. That'd be
Just
interesting because
that's
it's
the captain.
yeah. Plus, that makes total sense as well if you know them more. Also, the interesting thing will be conversationally speaking to Zora, and then depending on Zora's reply, then speaking to everybody else as like a pulse, and
Yeah.
then be interesting. Definitely interesting. I do like the fact that it's the exact level of telepathy you'd expect full telepathy at level 1 to give you, isn't it? Because you can just converse with who's nearby. It doesn't say only one at a time, please. I
Mhm.
like that.
I
Yes.
was going to say for next responding, telepathy wise.
I guess it
I think
depends
that-
what Olka's really saying, or Emmelyn's saying.
Yeah.
But like, how are you responding? Yeah, I was gonna say, like, do you respond back verbally or do you mind back?
I think next 5 would mind back, but kind of on a more general note, I think he'd do the same if other people are talking to him. He'd go for the language that's their shared kind of language. So he'd probably talk when it's not relevant to anyone else. He'd talk to Zora in Vesk,
Yeah.
for instance.
Or Velk, as Zora will tell you.
As well, yes. Yeah, just as a matter of making them
I
most
guess a
comfortable.
little conversation probably would have been invested in.
Little
Or
more
brief
I was
interaction.
thinking the same thing.
Or interaction.
Bum, ba, ba, da, bum, bum, ba, da. Anyway, right, cool. So we're in the cockpit. Everybody's there. Emmelyn, what are you saying to everybody?
Sorry, say that again.
What are you saying to everyone now that they're all assembled in the cockpit?
Here we are. I guess I'm waiting for the orders from the captain. So
So I like the idea that maybe as like everybody's walked in, who's last in? Is it probably Lyko?
Sure.
Yeah. So,
the
last-
door wouldn't open.
Yeah, like so maybe like the door is like doing that kind of like thunk noise as if it's gonna try and like open itself, and then eventually maybe like Zora turns back and just opens the door, and then Lyko walks in, and then you go, so here we are, I guess, as you wave your hand towards like obviously the external of the ship, and I don't know how drift travel looks like. I see it as weird blue for some reason. I don't know why.
Too much Doctor Who.
Yeah, well, early Doctor Who at least, not the angry new stuff. But yeah, like I don't know, weird blue, and I don't know why that is. I think it's just I've been conditioned by sci-fi to believe that like hyperspace and stuff is like various colors, despite
Blue.
it being different colors in almost all of them. I think what Babylon 5 has red, Stargate had blue, and then had green. Shrug. I don't know. Don't think it really matters. So yeah, you drop out of drift travel, and yeah, you are in the diaspora. These are at the coordinates
Yay.
you wanted to be at. Now we can
I
go
feel like
down.
I'm happy about it.
So yeah, like as I said, obviously, generally I'd prefer if you spoke in character unless you are describing how something is. Because obviously if you go, my character moves in a way that suggests nuance, ... even though the word nuance should cover that. But yeah, I don't mind that. But generally, if you're talking, try and don't say my character says this. Just say it as your character, which can sometimes be a bit difficult to get into the mindset of. Right now, what I'd recommend is we all learn how sensors work, because I'm assuming you probably want them to work.
Would be nice.
Yeah, I don't know how they work though, so let's go find that out. Let's see.
No, there's a spider. Not in the game, just near me.
I like the idea that Michael's just staring at the sensor screen and there's a spider on it. I was like,
Space spider.
it's like, is it in space? Is it on the screen or is it on the screen? You know, it's one of those things.
Ah, yes.
The philosophical ones, and then the rat obviously goes, "You are both and not on the screen." Turn around and it fades away.
Turn around.
Right, okay, so what do sensors teach us?
There we go. We're on page 300, 301.
Yep, sensors function as starship's eyes and ears, allowing a crew to see what's in space around the ship, whether planetary bodies or other ships, a dangerous asteroid field, or some monstrosity from the depths of space, or a spider stuck on the display. Sensors are a combination of video cameras, multi-spectrum scanners, radar arrays, signal interceptors, and optical telescopes. In starship combat, short-range sensors have a range of 5 hexes. Medium range, you've got mediums, right?
I believe we got
Yes, we've got medium.
Have a range of 10 hexes, and long range are a range of 20 hexes. All sensors have a skill modifier that applies to any skill used in conjunction with them. Sensors require an operational power core, blah blah blah. We know that part. Sensors operate in 2 modes, passive and active. In passive mode, they automatically scan ship's surroundings, or detect visible or unhidden objects in a 360 around the ship, at up to twice the range of the sensor's category. While in space or in drift, no skill check required, though local conditions may affect their range. Gravity forces, atmospheric conditions limit them to 250 feet on most planets. I like the way they've clearly limited them, so you can't just scan planets when you land. and their range might be limited further by the GM's discretion. Active sensors are far more discerning. They're required if the science officer wishes to scan enemy vessels. I love the idea, though, that Lyko is dubbed the science officer of the ship. Just because you are an experiment, so no offense. Just because the Barai are a bit weird.
Yes, they are.
Is the nicest way to put that. The modifier is listed in the table below. Combat sensor specified. Active sensors can discern information about the target up to 5 times the sensor's range away from the ship, but such checks takes a penalty of -2 for each increment beyond the first. So if the range was 5 and it was used against 12 hexes away, it would take a -4 penalty. That makes sense. Pretty much just... Yeah. So it's basically like rolling perception, but with the ship, I guess, is the best way to put that. That's the way I'm looking at this. Doesn't seem to go into any more like specifics, really, does it? No, not from what I can see.
Just the bits for outside of ship combat.
Yeah.
Basics, yeah.
Yep. I'm going to assume they've been set to passive anyway,
Yeah.
because I figure that makes the most sense when you aren't actively using them. Back on the ship sheet, if we go back to that, let me see. We've got... Right, so there are obviously captain, engineer, pilot, science officer, and gunner. Any of them speak to you there, Lyko, between science officer and gunner?
Gunner, yeah.
Yeah. Feel free to pop your name in there then. You should be able to see the 11th hour in the starship section. Yes, as he logs in.
Where,
to the
how
gunner.
do we make... I don't see any space below gunner.
It's above it.
It's above it. Oh, that's
Yeah,
just
I know.
upsetting to
Oh, I
me.
know.
Oh, I
Yeah.
don't like that at all.
It's the same as like pretty much all of it though, and it upsets me too. But this is just what we have to deal with. Right. As for that though, we have dropped out of drift travel. In front of you, spinning majestically, is a very large, kind of generic looking space station. I say generic looking because I love the fact that you all have different images in your head right now. Usually there's a lot of lights and things on. This one is, you know, if the light didn't hit this right, you could easily overlook it. It clearly has been designed to not be easy to spot, especially given its current location within the diaspora. It's quite well situated between stellar bodies of giant space rocks. So it is quite well hidden. Like, you would probably never have spotted this without having like spent like possibly months scanning the diaspora specifically for it. And even then, it's just a case of you would have been told about it to even have a chance at finding it. So yeah, that's what you see. I'm assuming you're gonna take her in.
Yeah, probably ask to open up a comms, get a dock in order, I suppose. Because it would be a good idea. It's a pretty shady place.
No,
Don't want to
definitely.
go in uninvited.
Yep, cool. Who's calming?
Probably be, I guess. I'd probably ask Emmelyn to open up also. Yeah, probably just say open up the comms of the station. Emmelyn.
Yeah, done.
There you go.
Here they are.
Fantastic. Fantastic. That's some good fucking. That's good work. Yeah, but I'd probably just say this is Zora, Daora, the 11th hour.
It sounds amazing, doesn't it, though? This is Zora Daora
Zora.
of the 11th hour.
I had to think of the name there.
I like the idea that you flick through your Rolodex of ship aliases and you go, yep, that's the one we're on today. The 11th hour. Okay, yep, so as you calm out, and then you like disconnect your comms, because obviously it's a bit like old-fashioned radios, because why not? There's just, like, as if there's been no acknowledgement of the comms signal, if that makes sense. So like you've commed in with your message, but nobody's picked up. Dun dun dun.
Dun, dun, dun. So I guess since we're talking about sensors and all that,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like-
shall I scan the thing, the station?
go for it. Do it.
Now I would say
Do it.
It's a computing task.
no, just in general, more of a etiquette thing.
Yep.
In world, I mean. So if a ship appears at a shady location and then scans somewhere, like obviously it's going to be an active scan that you do, of course, as well,
Mm-hmm.
that might be considered hostile. Just as a,
Oh, right.
do
Okay.
you see what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
just as a point of space culture. You might,
True.
because I mean, let's face it, if I just had something appear from nowhere, scan you guys actively, how would you react instantly? You'd probably go, defensive a little maybe.
Yes.
Especially considering you know, as I said, Aspis Consortium has a reputation. I don't know if MD actually knows anything about the Aspium Consortium, as in because it's in the book, but
Oh.
they are completely legal in the Pact world, to the letter of the law. Out with the Pact territories. No, not so much. But completely legal within the Pact world. And thus very well politically correct, connected, I should say. To the point where they get, like, they're part of the Pact Council without having a vote. That's how powerful this corporation is. They kind of, like, all of their corporation buildings on different planets count as embassies. That's how connected they are. So they're quite well to do, you know. So if they've sent you out to a shady station in the middle of nowhere, and you're not getting a response from comms, that's not the worst, is it? Just
Probably
to give
just
you a
say
bit more
Emmelyn.
atmospheric kind of context for you.
Probably just say Emmelyn then to just approach slowly.
Yep. Let's do it.
Okay. Right, so yeah, you pull the ship in closer. Now, you're obviously, when you obviously dropped from drift, or I don't know, say for again generic time's sake, like I don't know, 45 minutes out from the station, as you've been kind of getting closer and closer, you obviously attempt to call in and then you get no response. Obviously you've not actively used your sensors, you're just going to move in closer. I'm not saying you can't scan the place, I'm just saying, how would you feel if you were scanned, you know?
Feel the same. I mean, in certain situations, I'm probably not even going to adhere to that and just scan anyway.
Oh yeah, I mean definitely, right? Like as I said,
Still almost tempted to do it.
anytime
like,
I say
it's
stuff like that as
shady.
well, you know as well from previous games with me, like I'll give you what I assume you would know in your heads as the characters, even if you have maybe forgot it as players, because I am definitely of the mind where I know the characters I play are generally a lot more smart than I am. So,
And a lot more capable of thinking in universe terms.
oh yeah, definitely, especially as right now for this game, because this system's totally new to all of us. So, like, don't worry about needing to stop to look up information. I really don't mind. I'd rather we did that, because the more we do it, the better we are as a group for each other. Because if one person forgets, somebody else might remember it. So, I'd rather we did all these things as we go through. But yeah, so, what next? So you pull up, obviously a bit closer to the station, or at least as close as you probably feel comfortable pulling up without, say, docking permission.
Yeah.
But again, there's no response. Normally, obviously, there would even be like a proximity alarm, like an automated warning saying, keep your distance. This is like private territory, etc., etc. Generic kind of space buoys that would actually convey information. Obviously, though, those are usually more legitimate places that might have these things, of course.
So do we think that something's off? Or...
I'm feeling something's off, but that's probably me.
Or they has spacesuit on and
I
Doshko in
expect
hand.
to be responded to when I calm you. I don't know. I'll probably say scan the place. Personally. In fact, yeah, screw it. I'll probably just say scan the station. That's something's a little bit off.
All right. How do we do that?
Is that a pilot task or a science officer one then?
Yeah.
That's-
It's
When I
a
scan a station, do I scan like just a wide range scan? See if
it's
there's
a
anybody-
computers check.
Is that something that I'd step up and...
Yeah, it depends.
Try
Like,
to get it next. I guess.
just whoever would normally do it.
I guess if he's the computer guy, it's probably best at next. Does it? So I'd probably say next to I just scan.
There's nothing
Yeah.
wrong with multiple people doing this, because obviously the computer can help as well if need be. Because you do have the ability for the computer to give you a hand with these
Is there
tasks.
specifics? Is it like a wide range or just a specific scan or whatever? Is it rules?
Well, I
to
guess
that?
the passive one's picking up info anyway, right? Like, oh, we're in the diaspora. There's rocks.
Right, yeah.
And possibly pirates. Yours might even be the pirates. Welcome to the diaspora. Please turn to side B.
It's a great audiobook.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think in that case, Nix's usual place would be near a terminal.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
Sounds
there can be plenty of seating for everyone in here anyway. It's just generally it's considered rude when Emmelyn's staring daggers at you. Being like, get out of my space.
Probably Alina. Probably not Alina.
Right, so Nix, you're going to go for this.
Yep.
Do you want to type in to the...
Sensor check.
Is this
Station.
an active one for the station? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
There we go. And then I hit
First roll of
Just hit-
game.
computers.
Oh.
It's a one. It's a natural one.
one. Of course, it's a natural one. It's Alec.
Welcome, guys.
Welcome
Why
to
did-
the
why-
diaspora.
Why? Why is he allowed to do this?
My dice rolls have two modes. 1s and 20s.
Hey, it was going to happen, guys. It was going to happen. Right. Now, tell me, Nix 5,
Yes.
how you don't get any readings from the station by not really being able to operate the sensors on this particular day.
Imagine there's probably a bug in the sensor that hasn't been reported. And
It's that spider again, isn't it?
it's probably due to somebody playing with the computers. So Nix will be
This is when you
frustrated.
realise that Zig isn't somebody that's known use for ages. It's a stowaway that's been like eating its way through all the cabling in the consoles.
I think at that point, realizing that it's I don't know if Nix has realized that it's not working.
Hmm.
But if he has, he probably walks out, going for tools or something. He
Right,
just
so-
leaves the cockpit without
Yeah,
comment.
I was going to say, yeah, so I think what happens, right, so you go to use the sensors, which you've done many times before. You've maybe helped calibrate them in the past as well. You've went to scan the station, you've aligned, the targeting array, etc., blah, blah, blah. You hit scan, and then it just comes up clippy at the side. It's like, we see that you're trying to scan. Have you tried? And then it gives you obviously some scanning suggestions. It's as if it's reset itself to the default tutorial mode, which obviously then doesn't let you do anything until you complete the tutorial. So at that point, you just walk away out of the cockpit. So to everybody else, you just see obviously the order to, like, I think it's Zora that said it. Okay, scan the station. Protocol aside, whatever. And then next goes up to the computer. So is this computer on a side panel to the cockpit? Is it next to the pilot? Like where's the station for the main computer, if you will?
I'd have thought it'd be probably just behind the pilot to one side,
Okay, yeah. So
seated position.
cool. Okay, yep. So just behind the pilot, we've got like another kind of maybe set of seats, and yeah, your computer panel's there. You go there, and then obviously Nix just leaves the cockpit without saying anything. How do? And
Right,
is that something Nix does a
very-
lot? Sorry, as well, because obviously
sorry,
that'll
yeah.
help. If this is like a one-off, this has never happened before, and Nix has just done this out of the blue. People will react differently to as if this is how Nix reacts every single time something's broken.
I think people will probably be used to him. not giving information that he doesn't think is
Yeah,
relevant.
but like socially
Yep.
awkward that way, like in the sense of like not
Yeah.
quite, doing all the right social cues. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Works. Okay, right, good. Olka,
Right.
go.
I once he's left, because I can talk to him through the walls. I just ask Android what was going on, what happened, what did you see?
Nothing. It's broken. We'll have
All right,
take some time. We'll get it fixed.
I relay the message to Zora.
I would grunt openly.
Yep, he broke
I'll
it.
probably sigh. I'll probably sigh. Suggestions? Anybody? Do we approach? Suggestions?
Well, this is boring, so yeah.
Just go dock.
All right.
Go dock.
Hey, comment's hard for the Vesk tongue, okay? So, go, Doc.
All right. Well, this should be fun.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be fine, right?
There's definitely something badly wrong.
I erred on the side of caution. I tried, okay, guys. Right, I tried. I failed. Let's just go for it.
Okay, yeah, so you're going to try and go and dock somewhere in the station?
Yeah.
Now, this station is, like, quite a bit bigger than your spaceship, just FYI, so you could easily land the whole thing in, like, a big cargo bay if you find one, okay? Like, just in terms of scale, this is pretty big. Which is obviously, how is
City big or, like,
it?
complex big?
Right, give me 2 wee seconds, right? What we'll do is...
Like, elite sort of, like, big station versus outpost. Like,
Yeah.
Sort of,
Well, that frame of reference is completely
fine.
out with my own.
As I said,
Kinda.
I'll get some imagery, and I'll see if I can get you, let's see, space station big. Alright, I'll try and get you an image of something, I'll put it in Discord for us. 2 seconds, and I will do that just now, and then I will put us on some dramatic pause in a second.
Pause.
So we are looking at... Obviously this is great for the folks at home listening. Something like that, but the actual... See, the central part is like twice as big. And this is in the general text.
All right.
So, yeah.
Okay, so pretty huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And did you say it takes us like 40 minutes to even approach it, or?
Yeah, so like, obviously, like, I don't know how specific drift drive is yet, so you just leave the drift roughly in the coordinates you were given, and then you just drop out, and then you go, right, cool, that's where we need to be specifically though, just over there. And then use obviously then 40 minutes of travel. And again, that might have been 5 minutes, it's 40, 45, it's space-time travel until you get to the location, until I work out how important timings are for everything. Because your ship's pretty nippy anyway, is it not? You spent good monies on thrusters, did you not? So, yeah. But yeah, that's pretty much what you see approaching. It's, as I said, the core body of it is bigger. What I'll do is I'll tag it as Baskerville Research Station.
I think in that case, at some point in the approach, Nix will come back in with something approximating a manual. We'll be troubleshooting the computer.
Yeah, I did maybe just sit back down and you just put that on top of the computer panel and just slowly start flicking through it. It's mostly just you're looking for how to disable Clippy. And other assistants exist also. Right, okay, yep, so as you approach, obviously you're pretty much looking for like guiding lights or anything that indicates where the docking bay would be, right, on this big place. Maybe use approach kind of side on to these like rings that you've got, and as I said, that central part's like twice as big. And if you can imagine, obviously space, the kind of rotation's kind of irrelevant, but it would be if you had to look at it side on in any sci-fi that self-writes everything for you, because all ships meet the right way up usually in sci-fi, unless it's The Expanse, which is amazing. Other shows exist, but they're not as good. And just complete endorsement right here.
It's also how the Tyranids got one over the Imperium.
Yep.
Never forget.
Never forget. Never remember. And yeah, so this would be like, we're looking at it top down, is what I would say from that image, so that the rings go out to the sides. And all the docking bays that you would be looking for would be on the main body of that cylinder. So instead of it being on the top like it is there, those types of doorways and stuff would be all the way down the central column. And some on the outer rings as well. But you are mostly just seeing like closed bulkhead doors and stuff, like big hangar bays and such. But one big enough for your ship to fit in would be on the central body, just as you are kind of like, I guess, sailing round it, you know?
Does it look active?
There are almost no light sources. There are like lights on the outside of the station, as if "don't bump into me" lights, you know? But there are no... It's not like you can see windows, you know? Like normally on a spaceship, like this image as well, there's a lot of lights on that specific image, but you have just got this black station structure that you're looking at. What's the general vibe in the cockpit right now? With obviously Nix is busy, currently reviewing it. Lyko's after saying, for the lack of a better phrase, I have a bad feeling about this. How's Zora feeling about this?
Well, he's got a bad feeling about this as well. He's probably like, I don't know, he's nervous, sort of. Like, he's gritting his teeth. He's just sitting there gritting his teeth.
Why are you so negative? What if he's got there and you're like, "Happy birthday!" And you let off space fireworks, you know? It'd be lovely. Okay, yeah, cool. Right, as you start, like, so, Emmelyn, you notice obviously the difference in the docking bays between the outer rings and the central column, right? And you can obviously be like, right, okay, we definitely need a central column docking bay. You're going to go look for one. And then as you kind of start to fly within the rings, so like in between them, your comm starts going.
Dancer. I didn't even realise my mic was unmuted there.
That actually just sounded like you said dancer, is all it sounded like.
Dancer.
I thought that's what you said.
Dancer.
You know, the Vescarian Dancer would be an amazing ship name. The Vesk Ballet. It's just war, just named differently. Right, okay, so
what do you mean by it starts going? Like,
as in like incoming
talking,
comms light starts flashing, and you'd have to accept the comms.
I accept the comms.
Okay, you hear slightly mechanical, slightly electronic voice kind of come through. Not the best kind of condition, like kind of space interference, obviously. And it's a female voice, and it goes, "Hello, I'm Alice." And that's all it says. And we'll take a break for 10 minutes. And we'll come back.
Okay. If we just like, run into claptrap or something.
I was thinking more. What's her name? Shit. System Shock. You know.
I have never played that. I actually really probably should. Right, okay, so I'm going to stop our recording here now.